The future of Wisconsin. That's what both major party candidates are going to be talking about over the next couple of months as the race for governor is now set.
One candidate's hoping to follow in his former boss's footsteps, and another is trying to turn a district Democrat for the first time in decades. We'll hear from the two men looking to take Speaker Paul Ryan's place in Congress.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is Wednesday, August 15th. A little hot, a little humid out there.
Before we get to that, though, there's leftover pizza and M&Ms.
And M&Ms.
And M&Ms. Peanut M&Ms here in the newsroom. How great is this?
Adam is guilty.
Post-primary election, post-election day,
I know.
leftovers.
It's
just
good
great.
stuff.
Yeah, just point that out.
You are guilty, though, of opening up the peanut M&Ms and, like, Pandora's box simultaneously. Everybody's just
Thanks
like...
Yeah, sorry.
He'll be gone before the show's up, so
News 3 This Morning fueled by leftover pizza and M&Ms.
There you have it. And coffee.
Coffee. Don't
Lots.
forget that. Here's a live look from the Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam. Kind of a gray start once again this morning. Not dealing with fog, but we do have clouds in the area and some rain in the forecast. Here's a look at satellite and radar trends. It's pretty cloudy across all of southern Wisconsin, and some light rain showers are now starting to work their way into far southwestern Wisconsin. Rain will move from southwest to northeast today, so it won't arrive in Madison until probably after the lunch hour. Temperatures, though, are very mild. We're actually up a degree in Madison to 71 right now, 70 in Janesville and Platteville, 67 in the Dells. Dew points are pretty close to the temperature, so it feels like relative humidity is around 100% this morning. Temperatures won't be as hot as they were yesterday, only topping at 81. Keep in mind, though, it is going to be humid through the day. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. We'll see what's happening on the roads. A little bit of activity showing up on the maps now near Stoughton Road, but nothing that's going to slow you down too much. No accidents report around the region, so you're still going at posted speeds heading into Madison.
Could always be a little bit different with the rain this afternoon.
They could, maybe for the evening commute.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Ads.
You're welcome.
2 minutes after the hour right now, and we start with information that both Governor Walker and State Superintendent Tony Evers are going to be planning events around Wisconsin today as the race for governor in November's election is now set.
News 3's chief political reporter Jessica Arp is sharing this morning what voters can expect heading into the fall.
The general election has now begun and the gloves are off. The state Republican Party announcing a $500,000 statewide attack ad buy against State Superintendent Tony Evers as he is now the Democratic nominee. Evers saying in his speech that Governor Scott Walker is self-serving and has turned his back on Wisconsin.
We are running against one of the best politicians around. He's slick and he has billionaire friends and he will do anything to get elected.
News 3 asked Evers about his attacks and the ones coming in the ad from the Republican Party about some of his actions as state superintendent.
It doesn't surprise me, it doesn't shock me. That's his MO. They carpet bomb, and there you go. I know what they're going to say. We'll just continue to say what we've said around those issues, and I'm apologizing for no decision that I've made going in that arena. So bring them on. We're ready to take them on.
When I look at the field out there that's running today to be the Democrat nominee out there, every one of them is in a spot where they embrace the failed policies of the past.
Governor Walker didn't come after Evers by name Tuesday, but instead stuck to a familiar theme of previous campaigns.
Voters in this state are going to have a very clear choice between do we want to continue to move Wisconsin forward, or are we going to take a giant step backwards?
Evers and Lieutenant Governor candidate Mandela Barnes on the Democratic side, as well as Governor Scott Walker, will be doing stops across the state today as the general election campaign begins. In downtown Madison, Jessica Arp for News 3 This Morning.
Thank you very much, Jess. So Madison Mayor Paul Soglin told Jess after he lost the primary to Tony Evers last night, he is done with politics. Leah Linscheid will share that story at 6:30.
We now know who will be running on the Republican ticket for a seat on the U.S. Senate later this fall. State Senator Leah Vukmir beat Kevin Nicholson to win the GOP nomination with 49% of the vote. Incumbent Senator Tammy Baldwin has been elected to that seat since 2013. We also know who will be on November's ballot vying for House Speaker Paul Ryan's seat in Congress. On the Democratic side, union iron worker Randy Bryce beat Janesville teacher Kathy Myers. The self-proclaimed Iron Stash raised 6 times as much money as his primary opponent. He won with 60% of the vote yesterday. Bryce will go up against UW System Regent Brian Stile, who beat out 5 other Republican candidates to run in the 1st District. Stile was Paul Ryan's aide at one point and was officially endorsed by the House Speaker leading up to yesterday's primaries.
So going back to Randy Bryce, he celebrated his victory last night with supporters at a bar in Racine. He's an Army veteran who focused his campaign on health care and jobs. As a career iron worker, he says he wants to make sure the middle class is represented in Washington.
And the GOP is running scared with good reason. They see the movement that we're building. They hear the voters saying, we need representation that reflects this district, not out-of-touch Washington elites.
So Bryce said last night he's going to need voters to ride a so-called blue wave into November to take back that district that Speaker Ryan has represented the last 20 years.
Stile is hoping the success of his old boss winning 10 terms in that district is a good sign for him come the fall. The frontrunner of the Republican race spent the night watching returns in Burlington, about 40 minutes west of Racine. He spent the last 9 years in manufacturing and says that he has seen firsthand how Washington limits economic growth.
Together, we can cut unnecessary government spending, keep this economy moving forward, create good-paying Wisconsin jobs, support high-quality, affordable education, prepare students for the jobs of the future, and lower health care costs.
Last night, Stile labeled his politics as Wisconsin style and Bryce as a Washington-style politician.
In the statewide race for lieutenant governor, the primary winner was Mandela Barnes. He's going to run on the ticket with Tony Evers against Republican incumbent Rebecca Clayfish, who's going to run with Governor Walker. The 31-year-old Barnes is a former state representative from Milwaukee. He won nearly 70% of the vote against Sheboygan businessman Kurt Kober. Clayfish, meanwhile, did not have a challenger in her primary. So for the full primary results, including reaction from a number of the candidates involved, you can go to channel3000.com. The election results are also scrolling at the bottom of your screen throughout News 3 this morning.
As we talk about all of these results on air, researchers at UW-Madison are studying conversations happening online and in person about this fall's upcoming election. The goal is to understand how the state talks about politics and how those conversations have changed over time. The researchers in the School of Journalism will study social media, public polls, news coverage, and in-person interviews dating back to 2010. One professor is describing the picture to be painted as a communication ecology that will show how political interactions have changed over the last decade.
6:07 right now. For anybody who works on our shift, having a set sleep schedule is key to survival. Parents know how true that is for kids as well. With school starting soon, Josh Spreiter's here next with some advice for getting your students back in the rhythm.
Hattie's been in the rhythm of talking about heat and humidity so far this week. Today, she's talking about a chance for some rain. Her first alert forecast is next on News 3 this morning.
Good morning from the patio. We have clouds in the area, starting to get light now. Sunrise officially after 6 o'clock in the morning. Hard to believe how much daylight we've lost since the longest day of the year back in June. But we have plenty of daylight left. Yesterday was a warm day for the area. Highs were in the mid to upper 80s. It's definitely not going to be as warm today. We'll be closer to 80 degrees in most spots. However, it is still going to be very humid. Satellite and radar trends will show you that some of those rain showers are now starting to work their way into far southwestern Wisconsin, maybe just in the form of light sprinkles at this hour, but scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms are expected to become more numerous and move across the entire area this afternoon. Here's a look at what's happening on a wider view. Definitely is more activity building across Iowa. Again, and it's heading in this direction. No severe weather is expected today, but there's the potential for some brief heavy downpours. The Edgewater Sky Cam showing you cloudy skies with the capital in the shot. No issues with fog this morning. In fact, here's a look at the visibility map. Fog has been pretty thick west of Madison for the last couple of mornings, but not the case this morning. Temperatures, though, are quite mild with temps in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. In fact, Madison is 71 right now. Dew points are in the upper 60s and will hold steady through the day. So it is going to be quite uncomfortable when you factor in that humidity. In fact, extra deodorant, that's where we are today. Borderline, not enough AC when you're talking humidity levels like we have this afternoon. Here's a look at your future track forecast model. Again, cloudy skies this morning with those showers trying to work their way into southwestern Wisconsin. By the time we hit the lunch hour and into the afternoon, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms are expected for most of the area. Best chance to see the heavier rain would be right along the state line. Now, all the activity should diminish this evening, but then redevelop tomorrow afternoon. So still a chance for rain in the forecast tomorrow with high temperatures right around 80 degrees. Here's a look at rain potential. It's all over the map. It could be anywhere from just a couple hundredths of an inch of rain to closer to 3/4 or maybe even an inch if you find yourself under one of those heavier thunderstorms. But again, those would be isolated amounts for the region. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Temperatures will hold steady, hitting highs in the low 80s right through the upcoming weekend. As chances for rain diminish on Friday, that sets us up for a beautiful weekend with partly sunny skies and highs in the lower 80s. Now it's time to get a look at your first alert traffic this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, it's a quiet start on the Beltline so far this morning. No issues with delays showing up yet in either direction. Looking at other roads here in Dane County, just a few of the usual brake lights are popping up on the northbound side of Rona Road and Stoughton Road approaching the Beltline ramps. No problems at all downtown around the Capitol Square and UW campus. Looking for things to pick up over the next couple of hours. And other main routes heading into the city are cruising along at the usual speeds with no crashes or delays. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you, Hattie. One of the leading running groups in Madison's hosting a group of middle schoolers today in an effort to get them interested in the sport. Our friend Aaron Perry runs the Madison chapter of the group Black Men Run, Brown Boys Read. He's teaming up with Fleet Feet today for his weekly event promoting literacy and fitness among African-American middle schoolers in our area. That group's going to read at 5:30 at Fleet Feet's store over on Old Sauk Road before going out for a run at 6 o'clock. His Wednesday night program is sponsored in part by the UW Medical School.
On Capitol Hill today, senators are looking at including 2 major Wisconsin trails into the national park system. The measure from Senator Tammy Baldwin would essentially direct more money to be spent on the Ice Age Trail and the North Country Trail. The Ice Age Trail is 1,000 miles long. It's hiked by more than 1 million Wisconsinites every year. It's also administered by the DNR and the nonprofit Ice Age Trail Alliance. The North Country Trail goes across 7 different states, including northern Wisconsin, and is the longest national trail, going more than 4,500 miles. That is a long trail right there.
Yes.
It is almost 6:15 right now, and in about 3 weeks, summer is ending. Sorry, kiddos. Kids in Madison and throughout Wisconsin will be heading back to school.
Day after Labor Day. 3 weeks, still a long time, but doctors say it's the perfect time to start getting back to a normal sleep schedule after a few months sleeping in, sleeping late. Josh Freiter's live from Edgewood High School this morning where the kids, some of them actually go back to school today. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, and I'm guessing some of those kids are going to be a little sleepy after a little late night teepee action. As you can see, the decorations behind me this morning. The freshmen actually return here at Edgewood today, and all other classes will return tomorrow, and most other schools will be returning here in the next few weeks. Sleep specialists say now is the time to develop that sleep routine before the first day of school comes around. Along with that, earlier bedtime, health experts recommend kids develop a routine before bed, helping to smooth that transition, like reading a book or maybe having a bath. And of course, something all of us can learn from, putting away the screens.
Before going to bed, make sure that you have rules so that there's no tech before they fall asleep, meaning don't have them use their cell phones, don't have TVs in the room or turn them off, because you're more likely to be able to fall asleep and not wake up frequently throughout the night.
Dr. Flint with SSM Health in Sun Prairie says kids ages 6 to 12 should be getting 10 to 11 hours of sleep per night, and those above 12 should still be getting at least 9. She says studies have shown that those with that amount of sleep are healthier and also test better in school. We'll have more of those benefits coming up at 6:30. And guys, you know, I sneezed a few minutes ago. My allergies are acting up. I'm covered this morning, so it's a great start to the day for me.
Mike, I hope that covers it. My goodness, we'll have to send you the allergist if it doesn't. My goodness, all right.
Benadryl, maybe.
I know. Well, Josh is on cleanup duty now. We'll let him go. Thank you so much, Josh.
6:16 right now. UW-Madison's longtime dean of students is officially leaving campus today. Lori Berkwam will start a fellowship this fall at the American Council on Education. Now, she's a breast cancer survivor, says the experience has given her the perspective to follow the kinds of dreams she's encouraged UW graduates to pursue over the last 13 years in that job. Argyle Wade will serve as the interim dean of students through the upcoming school year.
AAA is asking for book donations this morning to help kids who go through some sort of emergency. The organization is collecting new or gently used books for the Reach a Child program, which works with first responders to offer those books to kids who have experienced something traumatic. AAA will also donate $1 for every book that's donated. You can drop those off at any of its 17 locations across the state. There's a downtown music festival that is growing here in Madison. It's free-flowing, it's improvisational, and its musicians want to spread that good vibe all around the Capitol Square. We'll get a preview here in a couple minutes.
We're hoping there's no rain tonight for the Jazz at 5 series. Hattie's watching the radar. She'll update the forecast next on News 3 This Morning.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. We are starting with clouds this morning, so not a great view of the sunrise. Take a look at satellite and radar trends across the area. A few showers working their way into far southwestern Wisconsin as well. The showers become more numerous as we head towards the afternoon, so we all have a chance at seeing a little bit of rain today. Here's a look at current temperatures. If you have the AC on in your house, even though it's going to be cooler today, you'll probably want to keep it on. Temperatures are starting near 70 this morning. Dew points are high as well. It's going to remain very humid through the day. Probability of precipitation relatively low in any one spot, but it does increase a little bit through the afternoon. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Never too early to look ahead to the upcoming weekend, and the forecast for the weekend looks great. Sunshine with highs in the low 80s. Have a wonderful day.
Good news. Thank you, Hattie. It's almost 6:22 right now. 5 Madison businesses are hoping to get approved for liquor licenses tonight. That includes Cafe Coda, which recently opened in the space that used to be occupied by the Paint Bar on Willie Street. Koi Sushi on State Street is also asking the Alcohol License Review Committee for a license. Mayor Paul Soglin, you may remember, has pushed for a moratorium on new liquor licenses in that part of the city due to concerns about safety and a growing number of violent incidents downtown.
Madison city leaders are looking at bids this afternoon to build new bathrooms and concessions at Breese-Stevens Field. The work is supposed to get going later on this year and finish up by the time events would start up again next spring. This would be a $1 million standalone building located just off the athletic field. We hope to have an update on the Board of Public Works decision on this tonight on News 3 at 10.
So a long-running Madison music series on Wednesday nights is trying to mimic the success of concerts on the square.
The Jazz at 5 series has been going on for the last 25 years, and after running on volunteers, it now has its first staff member to expand its groovy vibe. Our producer slash photojournalist extraordinaire, Melissa Bailey, shares a preview of what we can expect from Jazz at 5.
Spread diversity and the word of jazz to downtown Madison.
You can look at the various different art groups and see if the arts group matches the diversity of Madison, and they normally don't. If you go to jazz, we're everything. I mean, it's a music that came from New Orleans. The players are all different ethnic groups. We have fusion, we have gypsy, we have New Orleans, we have bebop, we have Ladies Must Swing.
We encourage conversation at our tables, trying to make sure everyone has a good time, feel the jazz experience. And I'm the first event director for Jazz at 5. We've just been trying to get more younger kids involved in Jazz at 5, trying to show that it's not a bunch of old men. And it's open for picnicking on the Capitol grounds, too. We're trying to work on getting some more speakers set up so you can hear it out here.
We look at ourselves as trying to make downtown Madison a better place to be. We're like concerts. I mean, people that go to concerts aren't necessarily symphony fans. They're downtown Madison fans. They want to have a great time. They want to sit in the Capitol grounds. They want to enjoy their friends. We want to do all those things, only have a jazz cabaret as the background instead of a symphony.
In the end, it's more than just a concert, what we're trying to do. We're just trying to throw everyone a good time in this area.
So that group you just heard from is Panchramatic Steel. The Jazz at 5 series is at the top of State Street every Wednesday night through September 5th. Thanks to Melissa for doing that story.
I was moving and grooving during that.
Cool. And there are puppies that made Danica very happy. 6:24 right now. Madison's most prominent politician says he is done with politics. Leah Lynchide shares Paul Soglin's thoughts here in a couple of minutes.
And UW-Madison remains one of the most affordable public universities in the country, but it's dropped in the rankings from last year. The day's top stories are next on News 3 this morning. A Dane County supervisor is making history with her win in yesterday's primaries. We will hear from her in minutes.
Tick tock, tick tock. Sorry, kids, that is the summer clock winding down. I'm Josh Rutter live this morning with why you might want to start that earlier bedtime sooner rather than later.
This is News 3 This Morning.
I think it sounds more like whatever alarm is going off at that time. Good morning and welcome back to the final half hour of News 3 this morning, 6:28 now on this Wednesday, August 15th.
So it's really humid out.
Yes.
Hattie's talking about need more deodorant. It could be Rice Krispie treat sticky out there this morning. Maybe s'mores sticky heads. What do you think?
It could be you have straight hair and now it's curly. That could be also today because it is very humid outside. I feel like you can cut the air with a knife this morning. It's just real thick. We have temperatures right around 70 degrees. Cloudy skies this morning because some rain is in the forecast today. 71 here in Madison. Winds are calm, so no air movement at all. The dew point is 67 degrees. Feels almost tropical outside this morning. Here's a look at Doppler track. It is showing you some light rain trying to work its way into far southwestern Wisconsin. Probably not anything much more than sprinkles at this hour. However, scattered showers and even a few isolated thunderstorms are expected through the afternoon. No severe weather, though, in our forecast today. Temperatures are in the upper 60s or low 70s across all of southern Wisconsin this morning, so we're getting off to a pretty mild start. We'll top right around 81, which is definitely cooler than yesterday, but with the humidity, you might not even notice the cooler temperatures. And to unpack that umbrella, you might need it this afternoon. Here's a look at your first alert traffic. Roads are dry this morning, and we haven't seen any issues just yet. Really not a whole lot happening on these traffic maps at this hour. Just a little slower than normal through the construction zone on Verona Road. Other than that, you're going posted speeds. And that's your first alert traffic.
Thank you very much, Hattie. 6:30 right now, and the candidates for governor, U.S. Senate, and House Speaker Paul Ryan's congressional seat will start their general election campaigns today.
We're going to share some of last night's primary election results. Look ahead to November in the morning sprint, though. First, we wanted to talk about one of the candidates for the state legislature who is particularly noteworthy this morning. Leah Lynchide has more on how Sheila Stubbs, Dane County supervisor, is making history. Good morning.
Good morning. Stubbs is a Dane County supervisor, and this morning she's now the first African-American from the county to be voted into state office. Stubbs won last night's primary for the 77th Assembly District with 50% of the vote, and she doesn't have a Republican challenger in November, which makes her the first black legislator from Dane County to be elected to state government.
We're going to bring bold solutions. We're going to build bridges that address racial disparities. I'm a champion at that. And we're going to continue to change these disparities in the state of Wisconsin and in Dane County.
Stubbs had an endorsement from the outgoing state representative, Therese Berceau, who announced earlier this year she would be leaving that seat. Now on to a candidate we're all familiar with, Mayor Paul Soglin. He says his loss in last night's Democratic primary for governor will cap a political career that spanned decades here in Madison.
What are you thinking about doing next? Is there going to be more runs for anything in your future?
I don't know, but there will be something.
Something like?
Not elected office, believe me.
That's our Jessica Arp talking with Mayor Soglin last night. Now, Soglin got just 5% of the vote in last night's election. He comes in behind Tony Evers with 42%, Malin Mitchell with 17%, and Kel DeRoy's with 13%. Back to you guys.
All right, Leah Lynchide reporting from the News Center. Thank you, Leah.
In Rock County this fall, Democrat Troy Knutson will run against Republican Jude Maurer for sheriff. Knutson has worked at the sheriff's office for 30 years. He's currently a commander, outranking Maurer, who's a captain. Knutson won a pretty intense primary yesterday. Now, the winner in November is going to replace the current sheriff, Robert Spoden, who's retiring this fall after serving 12 years in that job. Spoden has not endorsed either of his colleagues.
Voters in at least 2 Rock County communities will also vote on school referendums come November. The Janesville Gazette reports the Delavendarian School District will ask voters to approve a $2.8 million referendum. That'll be spread out over 4 years and go toward hiring more staff and reducing class sizes. None of that money, though, would go toward reopening Darien Elementary School, which closed after another referendum failed in this last April's election.
Edgerton residents are also going to have a couple of referenda school-related come November. There will be 2 questions specifically. The first is going to ask voters to approve spending $40 million to upgrade high school labs and offices, update the infrastructure across the district, and help add secure entrances to several schools. The other is going to ask voters to allow the district to exceed its revenue limit every year by $1.25 million. If both are approved, Edgerton voters would see their property taxes go up roughly $1 for every $1,000 of their property's value.
Speaking of schools, UW-Madison is not considered as affordable this fall as it was for students coming to campus last year. The latest data from Money Magazine showed the campus was 48th overall in America for the money students paid. It was rated the 30th best, I should say, among public universities. Now, last fall it was 45th overall and 27th best of the public schools ranked. 727 campuses nationwide were judged on graduation rates, salaries earned by alumni, and tuition costs.
So not talking about college, but school, but generally for younger kids, starts September 4th, the day after Labor Day for the vast majority of Wisconsin students. Still 20 days away. I can hear my kids already. Summer's not over yet, Dad. Come on.
Repeat, on repeat, on repeat. And teachers probably saying the same thing as well. But sleep specialists say now is the time to start transitioning your kids into that earlier bedtime to get ready for that first day of school. Josh Sprider is live at Edgewood High School this morning to explain. Edgewood's actually starting school in, I'd assume, about an hour here, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Hard to believe the summer went by already. Freshmen will be returning here at Edgewood today, and all of their classes will return tomorrow. And of course, all the other ones will be going back here over the next couple weeks. So hopefully they started that routine before last night if you're an Edgewood student. If you're one of those lucky schools who get a couple more weeks of summer, now is the time to start that sleep transition, because sleep specialists say it takes the average person around 2 to 3 weeks to form that healthy sleep habit again. Dr. Diana Flint with SSM Health recommends kids ages 6 to 12 get between 10 to 11 hours of sleep each night. Those older than 12 should get around 9 to 10.
We all need it, especially in children. It helps them with focus. So kids that sleep, longer and are better well rested do better in school. The grades are higher. Your mood is more stable. You're able to handle challenges, and your appetite seems to be a little bit more normal. You're more likely to eat healthy foods, and you don't crave sugar all the time.
Along with that earlier bedtime, she also recommends parents establish a routine for kids before bed, like bath time or reading. That way they can wind down for the night. And of course, something I think we all can learn from is putting that technology away. And as you can see, I think there were some kids that had a little late night fun with some TP last night. So there's probably going to be a few sleepyheads this morning. And guys, Hattie was talking about that humidity. Well, the toilet paper is a little wet, so I'm guessing it's going to be a messy cleanup today. No pun intended.
So wait a minute. They put the technology away when they were TPing the school there. That's one thing. That's a positive, right?
I think that's a positive thing, right?
I know.
Sure.
Got to focus on the positives here.
If you gather enough toilet paper, you can make a nice pillow for a nap later on today if you need it too.
All right, Josh. Thank you.
That's
6:36 right now. A Madison company this morning is being called the fastest growing business in America, the whole country. We will introduce you after the commercial break.
And maybe it's the lakes or the trails or the restaurants, or if you believe a new study out, it's all of those things that make Madison not just a great place to live, but to retire. We'll share the details next on News 3 This Morning. Welcome back to the program. 6:39 right now, so I got kind of deep when I picked my morning picture this morning. It's from Diane. It's a beautiful sunrise. I just want to let everybody know on the day after Election Day, the sun does come up. It's still beautiful here in the state of Wisconsin. Whatever your priorities and your hopes and your dreams were yesterday, you can still work for them again today. So thank you, Diane, for sharing, for giving me the picture to be able to share that message.
And thank you for the inspiration here this morning, Adam. Good stuff. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Instagram page. Doesn't always have to be this uplifting, you know. I'm all good for like a cute puppy. I'm a sucker for that. So we always share our favorites here, whatever it is, on News 3 this morning.
So if you're looking to retire soon, there's a new study out showing City of Madison's one of the best places to do it. Analysts from Wallet Hub released their best and worst places to retire list this week, looking at 180 cities across the country, ranking them in 46 different areas. City of Madison ranked 39th overall, ahead of cities like St. Paul, Seattle, and Phoenix. The city's highest marks came in the quality of life category, where it ranked 16th in the country. The survey showed Orlando was the best place to retire. Newark, New Jersey would be the worst.
A Stoughton native and entrepreneur says he still can't believe his company is being recognized as the country's fastest growing business. The entire country, folks. The State Journal reports Swan Leap ranks #1 on Inc. 5000's list. Sales of that company have gone up more than 75,000% over the last few years. Now, Swan Leap uses artificial intelligence to help manufacturers find the fastest way to get their products to retailers. On average, it saves those manufacturers about 27% on shipping-related costs. Congrats to them.
I know.
That is really cool.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, 6:41 right now. There's a chance for some rain today, the best chance that we've had so far this week. Hattie says it will still be pretty hot and humid today, although not as hot and humid as it's been the last few days. Her first alert forecast is coming up next.
First, though, it's August 15th. I want to say happy birthday to my sister Serena and happy 3rd birthday to Otis, my man.
My man.
Thanks for letting us help you celebrate here on News 3 this morning.
Welcome back. You're taking a live look this morning at a kind of hazy west side of Madison. We are looking live at the WISC Skycam. Hattie has some chances for rain. We'll get to her in a second. Might be a soggy afternoon to take the dog out. Madison's Board of Public Works is scheduled to vote later on today on spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to upgrade a downtown dog park. The board is expected to vote on approving plans for Brittingham Dog Park and put the project out for bid. The $340,000 would cover the cost of installing synthetic turf, pouring new concrete, and utility work at the space right on John Nolan Drive.
Board members are also expected to move forward on a $300,000 contract for a number of companies helping build an inclusive playground at Elver Park. You're seeing video here of the city's first inclusive playground that opened last year at Brittingham Park. The goal is to create a play structure that's accessible for kids of all abilities. Hattie, it's still going to be humid out for the kids. They might get rained on this afternoon.
Yeah, the rain might feel good. It's going to be so humid throughout the day today that it is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Doppler track showing you some light rain trying to work its way into southern Wisconsin. Not having a whole lot of luck right now, but we do see some more development further to the south and west across parts of central Iowa. This is all going to lift into southern Wisconsin as we go through the day today, so better chances for rain coming this afternoon. Now, as far as severe weather is concerned, that severe weather outlook not painting any risk areas across the region, so no severe weather is expected. Here's a look at GFS Future Track, though. It does a pretty good job showing you the rain to the south this morning. As we put the map into motion, you'll see that rain lift northward into the state through the afternoon and evening hours. Rain will diminish as the sun sets tonight, but then is expected to redevelop for tomorrow afternoon. Here's Thursday at 7:30 p.m. So still some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms possible on Thursday. Friday looks a little drier for the region. North winds really kicking in, keeping that rain chance, especially across northern Illinois, but just far southern Wisconsin. Rain totals are likely to be light in many spots, but they could be around 1/4 of an inch or 3/4 of an inch rather, right along the Wisconsin-Illinois state line. Less rain as you move north of Madison. Again, the shot this morning from our Skycam is pretty gray. We have clouds in the area already. Temperatures are mild, 71 here in Madison, 70 in Janesville, 67 in the Dells. Dew points are high in the mid-60s to around 70 this morning, so that's definitely uncomfortable, and we're not expecting any change on those dew point numbers. The trend keeps dew points close to 70 over the next 12 hours, so not as hot today, but definitely humid. High temperatures in New Glarus, 79. Evansville tops at 78 today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible. As we head towards this afternoon in Fenimore, look for a high of 79. Dodgeville tops at 80. Still a chance for some rain. To the north might be a little bit warmer. The clouds won't be as thick, so you may see a little bit of sunshine, especially in Necedah, with a high of 84 degrees. Here's a look at our extended forecast here in Madison. We're looking at highs in the low 80s for the next several days. Slight chances for rain again continue Thursday into Friday, but then for the weekend, it looks dry and more comfortable. Not quite as much humidity, especially on Saturday. Here's our Pet Walk forecast for today. Joseph Flood in Albany. There's got to be a story behind that name.
Appropriate name with the flooding.
Yeah.
With potential rain coming
That's
this
true.
afternoon.
Just staring into the abyss. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Morning Sprint's coming up next right here on News 3 This Morning.
6:51 time now for the morning sprint. Hattie's watching out for some showers and storms this afternoon. Leah Lynchide's talking about a Dane County supervisor making history after yesterday's primaries.
Josh Spreiter sharing some advice on getting kids back on a regular sleep schedule before school starts. But we start with the race for Wisconsin's governor. It is now set as we head toward November. Both Governor Scott Walker and State Superintendent Tony Evers have events scheduled throughout the state today. They will be campaigning actively. Now, one of the 7 candidates that Evers beat in the Democratic primaries, longtime Madison Mayor Paul Soglin, who said afterwards he is done with politics in the future.
State Senator Leah Vukmir will run against incumbent Democrat Tammy Baldwin for a seat on the U.S. Senate. Vukmir won the Republican primary with 49% of the vote. Baldwin has served in that seat since 2013. This is expected to be one of the most watched Senate races in the country this fall, with a lot of outside money involved in these campaigns.
Ironworker Randy Bryce is the Democratic candidate looking to replace retiring House Speaker Paul Ryan in Congress. He beat Janesville teacher Kathy Myers with 60% of the vote. On the Republican side, it's UW System Regent Brian Stile. He beat 5 other candidates to win his party's nomination. Stile was Paul Ryan's aide, was officially endorsed by the House Speaker leading up to yesterday's primary.
A Dane County supervisor is making history this morning, waking up after a big win in the race for the 77th Assembly District. Sheila Stubbs is about to become the first African-American from Dane County to be voted into state office. Stubbs won the Democratic primary with 50% of the vote, and she doesn't have a Republican opponent in November. Outgoing State Representative Therese Barceau announced earlier this year she wouldn't run again and endorsed Stubbs for that seat.
Thank you, Leah. Researchers at UW-Madison are studying our coverage, public polls, social media, and in-person interviews to understand how the state talks about politics. The researchers in the School of Journalism will look at conversations dating back to 2010 to study how those have changed over time.
And you might want to pack that umbrella before you head out the door this morning. We do have some rain in the forecast, especially later on. A few light showers trying to work their way into southern Wisconsin. Heavier activity to the south and west right now that will lift into the state. So clouds this morning with temperatures starting right around 70 degrees. It's going to be a warm one today, but very humid. Look for a high of 81 later on this afternoon.
Thank you, Hattie. It's a way different story weather-wise for the northeastern part of the country. They're getting in a few days what they normally get all summer in terms of rain. We're talking up to 10 inches in some spots of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And the bad news is that the rain in that area looks like it's going to stick around through the end of the week.
Emergency crews are still working in northern Italy this morning using heavy equipment and dogs to find survivors after a highway bridge collapsed yesterday. At least 26 people were killed, 15 others were hurt when part of the half-a-century-old bridge came down during a storm. Investigators are still looking at what caused that bridge to break.
Students are returning to class at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School this morning in Parkland, Florida. There's way more security in place this year. The school has several portable classrooms to handle the overflow of students because the building where the shooting took place is still closed. We'll have more on CBS this morning after 7 o'clock.
Back in Madison, a new jazz bar on Willie Street is among the businesses asking the city for a liquor license today. Cafe Coda recently opened in the space that used to be the Paint Bar. Koi Sushi on State Street is also in front of the Alcohol License Review Committee as Mayor Paul Soglin continues to push for a ban on any new liquor licenses downtown.
UW-Madison's one of the best schools in America for the money, but it isn't considered as good as it was last year. The latest data from Money Magazine shows the campus was ranked the 48th school in America, the 30th best among public universities for its value. That's actually 3 spots down, though, in both areas from last fall. More than 700 campuses around the country were judged on graduation rates, salaries earned by alumni, and tuition costs.
I'm Josh Butter, live at Edgewood High School this morning, where freshmen will be returning to school today and the other classes returning tomorrow. And with other schools returning to school over the next few weeks, now is the time to start transitioning into that sleep routines again. Health experts say kids actually need about 2 to 3 weeks to adjust. Sleep specialists recommend those ages 6 to 12 get between 10 and 11 hours of sleep each night. Kids older than 12 should get around 9 to 10. Also, put away the phones and turn off the TVs before bed. Rather, grab a book instead. Studies show those who wind down before bed have a healthier night of sleep, making for better grades and better moods. You can find all of this information at channel3000.com.
Josh, thank you. AAA is asking for new or gently used books for the Reach a Child program this morning. That organization works with first responders to offer books to kids who have experienced a traumatic incident. AAA will also donate $1 for every book that's collected.
And finally, Jazz at 5 is holding its second show of the season tonight at 4 o'clock on a stage at the top of State Street. The music continues every Wednesday night through September 5th.
6:56 right now. We are following a developing incident on the interstate this morning. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Morning, guys. Vehicle fire on I-90 westbound just north of DeForest is causing some heavy delays, closing the two right-hand lanes at mile marker 123.2. It's just after the County Highway DM crossing. Expect things to be jammed up in the area for a while. Already some brake lights showing up on the westbound Beltline between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. Usual slowdowns up and down inbound John Nolan at Olin Avenue and North Shore Drive heading into the downtown area. And other main routes leading into the city are still cruising along at the usual speeds. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh.
And the view this morning is definitely cloudy across southern Wisconsin. Here's a live look from the Edgewater Skycam. No rain just yet here in Madison, but we do have a chance for some showers or even isolated thunderstorms, mainly through the afternoon into the evening. High temperatures today in the low 80s, but it will feel very humid. Still humid tomorrow with a high in the low 80. Looking dry, though, for the upcoming weekend.
That's always good news.
Yeah.
If you want to keep up to speed on what's going on with the weather, you can download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.